Hi there. In this video, we're going to look at yet another example of expanding a table column here inside of Power Query. So what we're doing with this video is, perhaps one of the reasons you've taken this course, a very common request of a thing you want to do with Power Query is do something like combining all of the worksheets within a given workbook, or maybe combining all of the workbooks within a given folder. And we're not going to do that in this video, but we're going to do something that comes very close to that. We're going to do that other stuff very soon. But this is, you can think of this as just sort of a warm-up exercise to that. Okay, so what we've got here is we're here in expand.xlsx. We're in that workbook. We're in the table advanced sheet. And what we've got here is this is sort of a variation on a pretty common problem, wherein we've got the order detail data, and we've got it for 3 months. The problem is each month has its own table, right? So like the data isn't all in one table like we'd like. We've got all of the order detail stuff for July here, all the way down here to this row. And if we come over here to this table, we've got all of the order detail for August, starting here and going all the way down here. And if we come over to this row, we've got all the order detail for September, so starting here and coming down here. And that's all nice and good, but what we really want is one single table that has all of this information in it so that we can, look at it and analyze it. So each one of these things, I've got their names up here. I've just written them out, but if we click on here, if we head up to Table Tools and Design, you can see that it is indeed called Tab Order Detail July. And if we come over to here, this one is Tab Order Detail August. And if we come over here, this one is Tab Order Detail September. Did I spell out September? Okay, good. So we're going to use Power Query to combine them. So let's head up to, the way we're going to do this is we don't actually want data from an individual table. We want to grab several tables from a workbook, but there's no button to do that, so we're going to have to kind of be a little bit clever here. We're going to click on one of these tables, doesn't really matter which one, head up to Power Query and click Get Data From Table. Okay, if you've watched a previous video, one of the things you know is here, let's start by getting rid of this change type step. Here on the first step, the source step, if we come up here, we can see that the first step of this query is to use the Excel.currentWorkbook function, and then it's going to grab a specific element from that. Now, if we come over here, and what we're going to do is, this has grabbed just that table that we had selected when we hit the button, get data from table. But if we select this stuff here, and I'm going to hit just Control X to bring it onto the clipboard, and I hit Enter. Now we see that the Excel.currentWorkbook function actually goes and grabs all the tables that exist in the current workbook, right? And if you'll keep in mind, what we want to do is if we come down here, we see we've got Tab Order Detail July, Tab Order Detail August, and Tab Order Detail September. Here are the 3 tables that we actually want to join. So if we come up here, this is the leftmost one out in Excel, right? This is the middle table out in Excel, all the stuff from August. And this one is the rightmost table, right? So these 3 tables combined would be all the order detail, and what we want to do is combine all 3 of them. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is, since we don't want to combine these 3, we want to sort of get rid of all the other ones from this particular outer table right here. So there's a couple ways we could do it. The simplest way to do it, I'll just show you 2 ways. The simplest way to do it is just sort of to prune on the tree here. We're going to uncheck Select All and just very explicitly say we want Tab Order Detail August, Tab Order Detail July, and Tab Order Detail September, and click OK. And that works just fine. And since this isn't actually a very realistic real-world example, that would be okay. There's one other way we could do it, and if you'll notice here, let's say that next month we expect to get a Tab Order Detail October, and then after that we get a Tab Order Detail November. Well, what we see is that all the tables that we want to combine all start with Tab Order Detail, and then after that they have the month. So what we'll do is we'll come up here, we'll click on the little downward arrow, we're going to go to Text Filters, and we're going to only keep rows that begin with Tab Order Detail. So we say begins with, that's correct. We want Tab Order Detail, and we click OK. Great, so now we've actually got the 3 tables that we want, right? So from here it's pretty easy. I'm going to do one final thing I don't actually need to do. Let's say that one of the things that would be handy is to have in this table, we've got the date stamp here, and that works fine. It'd also be nice to have a column that just has the month in it. So let's go ahead and do that. We don't want it to read tab order detail July and tab order detail August, because what we'd really like is just July, August, September. So there's a couple ways to handle this problem. There's one that I could show you, but let's stick with one that's a little bit simpler first. This isn't the most elegant solution, but this is an easy one to remember. We're going to click up here. We're going to come up to, it's not transform, it's home, and split column. So this is sort of the text to column equivalent here in Power Query. And rather than using a delimiter, because there are no delimiters, we're going to do it by number of characters. And we're going to say, all right, we're just going to split this text string, this one column, into two columns based on, we're just going to go a certain number of characters in, and that's where everything to the left of that is going to be one column, and everything to the right of it's going to be another column. Now, I happen to know what this is, but I'm going to pretend like I don't. So if I didn't know, what I would do is I would first click on here and say, all right, we're gonna split this once as far left as possible, and I'll just take a guess, and I'm just going to say 12. And I'm going to click OK. And it looks like, oh boy, I got close, but it's not quite right. So this is 12, so everything here, so this is everything to the left of 12, this is everything to the right of 12. It looks like I'm off by 2, because there's that little IL right there. So let's undo this change type. Certainly don't need that. And we're going to click on the gear icon, and rather than making it 12, we're going to make it 14. And click OK. There we go. That's the behavior we want. Okay, so we've split these correctly. I'm going to right click here and remove it because I don't want that anymore. And instead of it being name.to, that's not very helpful, I'm going to right click on this and rename this month. In fact, month ENG for English. It's a common way of seeing that. Okay, so now we've got this column here, which has all of the detail that we want. So we're going to expand this out in a second. And so let's say that there's not, but let's say there's 100 rows in this mini table, 100 rows in this mini table, and 100 rows in this mini table. When I expand it out, there's going to be 300 rows, right? We're going to see them all expanded outward. And each one of those rows, for each row here from this table, it's going to have an extra column that says month English, July. And for each one in this table, there's going to be, for the month English column, it's going to say August. And for each one in this table, it's going to say month English of September. So let's go ahead and click that expansion to watch it happen. We're going to uncheck use original column name as prefix, and we're going to click OK. All right, so we started here, so we had each one of these details, right? And now all the details are expanded out into one single large table. Okay, well, I hope that was illustrative of sort of how you can use this to combine different sources of data. This isn't normally how you would do it, but I think this is sort of a nice, easy way to start looking at what that process looks like. In future videos, we'll do it with more real-world examples. Okay, well, I do hope that was helpful, and I will see you next video.